The concept of imperialism gained prominence with the publication of Robson's Imperialism in 1903. Lenin's influential work, Imperialism, the highest stage of capitalism, and the subsequent revolutionary success in Russia, brought this concept and its associated praxis to the forefront of class and international politics. Throughout the 20th century, imperialism haunted the bourgeoisie worldwide, manifesting as a recurring nightmare in various forms and intensities. Over time, the conceptions and contours of imperialism underwent changes corresponding to shifts in societal nature, introducing new forms such as social imperialism, socialism in words, imperialism in deeds. In the reviewed book, Rajen Harshe explores these evolving nuances of imperialism, examining representative literature, theoretical contributions, debates, and the policies/strategies formulated by different countries to counter this phenomenon. Thematically, the book can be divided into three parts. First, there is a survey of literature and major theoretical contributions. Secondly, it contributes to the theoretical discussion on the emerging role of middle-ranking/intermediate capitalist states, playing sub-imperialist roles in Afro-Asian and Latin American regions, and on the Gramscian concept of hegemony. Finally, it surveys the emancipatory roles played by the Soviet Union and the non-aligned nations against imperialism. Theoretical points that have been underrepresented or not critically evaluated are also addressed. The focus on economic, political, or cultural subjugation/exploitation of one country by another, irrespective of its internal class divisions, ruling classes, and exploitation dynamics, is critiqued. The Marxian scheme emphasizes the primacy of class over country, suggesting that discussions on imperialism should prioritize class dynamics rather than the country itself. The substitution of class with country is seen as camouflaging class exploitation within a given society, shifting responsibility from the bourgeoisie to other societal classes. The argument contends that the emphasis on the country obscures the role of the native bourgeoisie as collaborators/junior partners of the metropolitan bourgeoisie in economic exploitation, especially in the post-independence periods of former colonies. The central beneficiaries of imperialism or neocolonialism, whether British, French, Italian, or native elites, are shielded from scrutiny, while the working class in both imperialist and neo-colonial settings bears the brunt of exploitation without significant benefits. Therefore, the discussion of imperialism, colonialism, or neo-colonialism should conceptually focus on class rather than the country. An additional point requiring emphasis is that the ruling elite of the neo-colonies, despite the perception of being unwilling partners of the metropolitan bourgeoisie, are, in reality, willing collaborators. They have consciously chosen this path to safeguard their property relations from potential overthrow by the expropriated. Their decision to align with the metropolitan bourgeoisie, rather than charting an independent or more revolutionary course, is strategic and protects their interests. There is no logical reason for them to share markets, natural resources, or surplus value with the metropolitan elite, unless it serves their purpose. The extreme and critical social conditions in neo-colonial societies make the ruling elite vulnerable to any spark of revolt that could unite disparate groups against them, potentially altering existing property relations to their disadvantage. This predicament compels them to willingly partner with the metropolitan bourgeoisie, contrary to the perception of unwilling collaboration. Caution is necessary when discussing the roles of the Soviet Union and the non-aligned nations in anti-imperialist struggles. The ruling classes of non-aligned nations structurally resemble those who had previously fought for independence alongside their people. Despite changes over time, their economic and political interests, particularly in securing a greater share of the market, remain consistent. The ruling classes of non-aligned nations collectively joined forces to pressure the metropolitan bourgeoisie for enhanced market access. Their symbolic support for independent anti-imperialist struggles served as a tactical maneuver to strengthen their bargaining position against the metropolitan bourgeoisie. Unfortunately, the masses, as usual, became mere cannon fodder in their pursuit of economic gains. The case of the Soviet Union is no different, leveraging the anti-imperialist movement to secure greater market shares from individual nations within the non-aligned blocs, and using the collective bargaining power of the non-aligned nations against the West for a share in the global market. This two-pronged strategy, coupled with the protected market of East Europe, allowed the Soviet apparatus to sustain itself for a couple of decades, projecting a socially progressive image. Both the ruling elite of the Soviet Union and the non-aligned nations pursued their economic and political agendas without genuine concern for the masses. The reviewed book indirectly touches on these themes, but primarily centers around the concept of the country. The most notable aspect of the book lies in its theoretical formulations, particularly in its exploration of the Gramscian concept of hegemony, and its analysis of sub-imperialist states in Afro-Asian and Latin American countries. Regarding the latter, the author contends that the capitalist form of development, to varying degrees, was embraced by diverse Third World states after the Second World War. While these states partially underwent industrialization, they failed to fully realize the potential of capitalist development, often exhibiting a combination of capitalist and pre-capitalist social formations. Termed as intermediate capitalist states, examples include South Africa, Brazil, India, among others. The characteristics of these states include being relatively new and autonomous centers of capital accumulation, with intricate ties to international capital, serving as regional bullies, propped up by imperialist states to further their interests, and having independent agendas, particularly within their respective regions. The analysis delves into the class formation of the ruling elites in these states, and their roles on national, regional, and international levels. In the section on Gramscian hegemony and legitimation of imperialism, the author concentrates on comprehending the functioning of the imperialist order, its superstructure, inter- and intra-state relations, rules facilitate. The discussion involves the cooptation of elites in peripheral countries, and the absorption of counter-hegemonic ideas. Applying Gramscian concepts, the author seeks to counter and establish counter-hegemony, unraveling the seemingly normal and obvious imperialist values and ideas that provide stability to international capital. Harshe's utilization of the Gramscian approach enhances our understanding of the imperialist superstructure,